Well, welcome back everybody to the Today's Market Explained show. It's a 4-star podcast and video series, and we do market commentaries as well. Obviously, that's our main business. But as you know, we do interviews, and today's an interview subject. We try to interview very interesting players in the economic system in America and around the world, and we do find some really interesting entrepreneurs. And today we have an entrepreneur that I think is really fascinating, Todd Ernest. And Todd is with us, and he started out in a very modest means and has created a national company in refrigeration. And we're going to hear all about how he did it and why that's a very, very cool thing. Todd Ernest, welcome to the Today's Market Explained podcast.
Thanks, Brian. I appreciate you having me.
Excellent. So, Todd, as we were talking earlier about your what you've developed now, you have a very large national company, and tell us a little bit about what that company does, and just a kind of a brief summary, and then let's talk about how you started it and go from there. So, tell us what your company does now, name of your company, and what does it do?
Yeah, thanks. So the company name is Climate Pros, and we started the business back in 2006. It essentially, what we do is, think of it as when you go into your supermarket, your local neighborhood grocery store, and there's all the coolers and freezers that hold all your food and keep it cold. So we're the guys that install those coolers and freezers, and then we service and maintain them and keep them running so that the food stays cold. I like to promote the fact that we're the contractor, we're the guys that keep the food cold in America and keep the food chain alive and well so that people are eating food that's safe and has been taken care of throughout the chain.
Nice. Now, Todd, you now operate in 44 states, is that right?
That's correct.
And you build a large network. How many employees do you have?
A little over 1,600.
Okay, so that's a big operation. And from what you've told me, it sounds like on a unit basis, you're the largest in your business.
To my knowledge, we service more supermarket stores than anybody in our space. There's another company that's slightly larger than us, but they have a few other verticals that they run. But specifically to supermarket refrigeration, I believe that we do. I believe we're the largest now.
Excellent. Okay, well, let's go back in time to 2006 when you founded the company. And before 2006, tell us about how you got to the point that in 2006 you launched the company.
So I worked for a contractor. I was a service guy. I was in the field, and I was the guy out there fixing stuff, sometimes installing it. And I had a great job. I loved who I worked for. I had a great boss. But I hit a point where I was looking for a little bit more. I was kind of the lead tech at the company, and we were a small company, about 15 or 20 technicians, which is pretty typical in our industry. It's the average size, I'd say, for the industry, maybe even a little smaller. And I was looking for a week's paid vacation. We didn't get paid vacation, believe it or not. And I'd asked my boss for it, and he came back to me, said, I know you do a lot for us. I'd love to try to get this for you. Let me see what I can do. But we were owned by a holding company, which owned a bunch of small businesses like ours. Ultimately, they came back and said, no, they said, if we gave it to him, we'd have to give it to everybody. We're not going to do that. So I was a little bummed, of course, but it was a couple weeks later, we were at the end of the year holiday party that they threw for us, which was always awesome. And you got to hang out with, they brought like 4 or 5 of their other companies all together at once. And it was great. But I was talking to one of the other gentlemen that had worked for that company for a long time, and he was in sales. And I said to him, I said, John, what's a guy got to do to get paid vacation around here? And jokingly, he said, quit. So 2 months later, I did. I literally kind of put together a plan of what I was going to do, and decided to go off on my own and start a business. And I brought a partner along with me at the time, and we took off, and we grew like gangbusters. And at the end of the day, it was all about, I saw an opportunity to do 2 things. One, professionalize the industry, because I had been around, I'd worked with a lot of other contractors throughout the country, and I saw that most businesses did things the same way. And it was very old, kind of archaic in the way they did business, on paper, the whole 9 yards. So I saw an opportunity to really professionalize the industry. But the driver was the vacation, right? So the driver was, I wanted to create a company that cared just as much about the people as it does the bottom line. And what I've learned over the years of building this great company is that that philosophy of caring that much about the people, it just causes the bottom line to take care of itself. And
Mhm.
it's been an amazing ride all the way.
Nice. So you take care of the people, they care about your company more, and they may even work harder.
100%. I mean, we have a culture in our company that consists of five core values. Bleeds blue, which is about loyalty. It's about understanding and knowing that the company is going to be there for you, just like you're there for the company. I mean, you think about it. We spend most of our waking hours working for a company and being with our coworkers, right? It needs to be a good place to work. If you don't enjoy going to work every day, why are you going there, right? It's like torture. And read this a long time ago. It's like, but if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. And our goal at Climate Pros is to create that kind of culture where you have fun. Granted, look, it's reality, right? Not every day is going to be rainbows and peaches, but the goal is that you have fun at what you do, and it's a great environment and a good place to be. And so we've focused on that culture to really just creating a really good place that people have fun, people work hard, and when they enjoy what they do, they work exceptionally hard. And then we love to reward them for that. We just launched actually, so over the years we've always given paid vacation, okay, because that was one of the things, right? And we're a union shop across the country, and it's not normal. Like no one else does that. And so I actually raised the bar. My team and I raised the bar at the end of last year, and we actually launched a vacation program to allow people to get up to 5 weeks paid vacation. And that's like never been heard of in our industry. And I'm not just talking about, people that think about this from a standpoint when they work in an office, you work for a big company, you're going to get some paid vacation. That's just normal, right? I'm talking about skilled trade, blue collar workers in the field who have never even know what that's like to have. And not only did we just implement it, but we have people that have been here for so long that they went from having a week or two paid vacation to 5 weeks, like overnight, like that. And so you can imagine how all the excitement and the buzz that it's created. And it was just something that we were super excited to be able to do. Again, taking care of the people, and everything else just happens.
Nice. Well, this sounds great. Now, you must, have some special training, Todd, and, like a big university training and business school probably, or tell everybody about your background.
Yeah, so no, no, I actually dropped out of high school when I was 16. I knew everything when I was 16. Why do I need to keep going to school?
Right.
I did go back and get my GED though. I had to keep mom happy at least for that. But no, I never went to college. Later in life, most recently, I did some higher education through an executive program kind of thing. Just finished that last year. But no, I had no formal education coming into this. And what's really cool about our industry too is that you don't need it. Like you don't need that college education. And I'm a big promoter of the skilled trades. I mean, that's what I consider myself to this day.
Mhm.
I'm a tradesman. I'm a pipe fitter. And at the end of the day, that has allowed me. I bought my first house when I was 21 years old, and I came from a very poor background. Okay. My parents did not make a lot of money. And we came from a very small town in the middle of nowhere, Texas. And it was, I had nothing. Okay. And bought my first house at that young age, all because of getting into the skilled trades. And I love the fact that we have people coming out of high school and getting into this industry and coming to work for us, and they're able to do the same. But one of the things that's actually lacking in our industry, our our niche, like there's an HVAC world, right? It's a huge industry in the HVAC, which is heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. But we're the RH in the RHVAC, and we're refrigeration. And then there's a couple tiers of refrigeration. There's your standard refrigeration, which is your refrigerators and freezers at your home. I would take that into the convenience stores and restaurants and what they have. But we're kind of the next level. We're in that supermarket world where you have very complex mechanical systems that are multi-compressor and all these parts and pieces. There's thousands of components in every grocery store out there. And so it's very complex. Well, we're such a small industry. And as a comparison, like our industry as a whole is smaller than Ford Motor Company. Okay, that's how small of an industry it is, just in that supermarket world. Well, there is no training for what we do. No one has it. And even as a union contractor, like our employees are trained to be good pipe fitters and welders, and they get some HVAC training, but specifically to what we do, it's not there. So about 4 years ago, we launched our first official Climate Pros University, and we did it out of our headquarters, which is just outside of Chicago. And we built a 5,000 square foot mock grocery store. We built a training lab and all kinds of trainers that continues to evolve as technology evolves and more equipment comes into the marketplace. But we've built an L&D, learning development center, that's ran by a group of people that are just second to none, and they're so passionate about teaching that we have our own curriculum now. We have our own training and development. We just launched CPU2 in Austin, Texas, late last year, in the fall of last year. We're going to be launching one in Cleveland, Ohio later this year. And then our hopes within the next 12 or to 18 months, we launch one out in California as well, because we've got people in all four corners of the country. And our goal is like, look, you can come to work here right out of high school, and we'll put you to work. We'll teach you how to do the job, and you'll learn on the job training as well. And in 5 years, you've got a six-figure income and a career path to take you wherever you want to go in life. And I love the fact that I can truly say that in our company, because my goal is that if you come to work here, it's the last place you ever work. That's number one. Number two, we've built a career path for people who come in the door and start out delivering parts for us, all the way up to my job someday if they want it. Like, I'm not going to be here forever. I'm not going anywhere soon, but I won't be here forever, right? But somebody's got to take my place. And at the end of the day, we're passionate about that career path opportunity. And I love a great example. I've got a guy that when he started working for me, he was employee number 3, and he started working for me at 18 years old, knew nothing about HVAC refrigeration. He was actually more of a carpenter by trade. And we trained him, we built him up as a third-year apprentice in the union. After we put him in, he'd been with us a couple, 3 years, roughly 4 years. We had accelerated his learning so much from just teaching him on the job, and he had great mentors that he worked with out in the field, and he was able to learn really fast, that we shipped him out to Hawaii, in a small island in the middle of the ocean, because our customers were asking us to be there, and he volunteered. Young guy, single, why not? Let's go to Hawaii, right? And fast forward to today, this guy is obviously still with us. Not just that, but he runs our entire Hawaii operation. We've got, I think, 18 to 20 guys on 4. We're about to be on the 4th island of Kauai out there right now. And he's running that entire business for us. So he's become a small business owner in a sense. And he helps manage that business out there. And it's just, it's an amazing thing to see. And I have lots of stories like that where people have just started out, and we've been able to take them to places they never imagined. So super excited about that.
And this career isn't just for men, is it?
Not at all. So we have a handful of females that work for us. It's not been a trade. Look, most people don't even realize what we do, let alone the fact that there are opportunities for even females to be in this industry. Like there's no limits. Like, there's so much opportunity for anybody that wants to get into this trade, and we can teach them how to do it. But there is a lack. I mean, we're trying to figure it out. We actually just promoted, super excited. It's not in the trade, but our new branch manager for our Kansas City branch is a female, and first female in kind of management that's come up through the ranks with us, which is pretty exciting. But we have some female technicians out there that do a great job for us. We just had one come through our Climate Pros University in Chicago just a few weeks ago, and got their first certificate, and it's going great.
Nice. Now, you mentioned Kansas City. You're headquartered in Chicago, but you started in Texas. How did you get to Chicago?
Yeah, so I was originally born in the Chicago market in the suburbs. When I was 6 years old, my mom got transferred to Houston, Texas, where she met my stepdad. And then ultimately they got together, and I grew up in the middle of nowhere. He lived in a really small town, barely a dot on the map, called Windthorst, Texas. And that's where I grew up. But yeah, so stayed there when I was 17 and wasn't going to school anymore. I had a dead end job painting stripes on highways. And
Uh,
then we got laid off in the winter time, and I decided to go up and visit my grandmother and my cousins and aunts and uncles in the Chicago area. And I ended up staying. My grandmother had all the stuff she needed done. I had no reason to go back home. I stayed the summer, got a job, and ultimately that job led me into refrigeration and HVAC, and here I am.
nice. Now, you also mentioned some other locations. I think Austin, maybe Cleveland. Where else are you?
Yeah, so we operate in 43 states, but we have people in 43 or 44 actually.
Mhm.
I'm losing track, but we have 33 brick and mortar offices throughout the country. So from Chicago, Milwaukee, Detroit, Minnesota, Minneapolis, Minnesota, Brooklyn Park, technically. We're in Kansas City, all over Texas, Dallas. We have two offices in Dallas, Austin, San Antonio, Corpus Christi, Houston, Pharr, Texas, which is down in the McAllen area. We're in California. We've got um, Corona, California, uh, Hayward, California, which is San Francisco, Stockton, Sacramento. We're up in Portland now. We're in Seattle. On the East Coast, we've got, and I'm probably missing a few, but we're down in Miami, Atlanta, Tennessee, Nashville, Memphis, and then Ohio, New Jersey, Philadelphia, uh, close to DC, and continuing to expand. And I know there's a few in there I missed, but and continuing to expand. So we're just excited. Our customers, again, focusing on the people, right? And it's when you have happy, good people who do a great job and work very hard, customers tend to like that, right? And we
Right.
focus on building partnerships, not a customer vendor relationship. And it takes time, but over the time, it's like why we're in Hawaii. Like our customers literally asked us to go there, and I said, okay. I said, not that easily. There's a much longer story for another day. But if I do that for you, I ask in return your help. If we grow in other places in the country, you support our growth. They all said the same thing. They said, look, if you can pull off Hawaii and do a good job for us there, we'll not only help you grow in other areas, but we'll tell you where we need you the most and help you get there. So ultimately that's what's happened. And everywhere we go, they're our customers are expanding and we're finding new ones and expanding with them. And it's been a remarkable journey.
Sounds like it has. So what kinds of businesses are you working on? You mentioned refrigeration. You mentioned Hussman and Kaiser and different brands.
Mhm.
You work with small stores as well,
We
all
do
over.
some. We do
Yeah.
some, but majority of our customers are the big multinational brand name companies. Think of any a big name supermarket chain from Kroger, Publix, Walmart, Target, you name it. And those are typically our customers. Those are the type of customers we like to deal with because we've just gotten used to, especially with technology, because those customers all demand a very high level of responsiveness and communication and data flow and workflow. And it's just because we've always focused on technology helping us lead the market, it's enabled us to grow and scale the business like others haven't been able to do, or not that they necessarily tried, but just no one else really has.
So are there any national competitors that are similar to you or?
Yeah, there's a couple. They're private equity ran businesses that have done roll ups, lots of acquisitions, just here, there, and everywhere that they can to kind of build up that business. But they also usually focus on other things in the HVAC space and sometimes sprinkler fitter type space, or fire protection, I should say. We really focus and stick with our niche of supermarket refrigeration.
Nice. Well, great. Wow, it's such a great success story, Todd. And you don't come from business school and you don't come from one of the top universities. You built it all up on your own. Did you buy any companies along the way, or have you just built it? Okay.
Yeah, we have. I think we've done a total of 9 acquisitions, and we've partnered with some amazing, amazing people. And it's interesting that ours is such a different model. I jokingly say that our competitors, if you can fog a mirror and make a buck, they'll probably buy your company.
Yeah.
Um, very differently, though, our acquisition strategy has been about number one, do you serve our niche? Do you serve the same kind of customer we do wholly? Number two, what's your culture look like? Because I don't want to buy a broken business. I don't have time to try to fix somebody else's problems. I want to buy a company that they work really hard. They've got great culture. It's a family oriented type business. And honestly, I mean, I've looked at over 100 businesses across the country and walked away from 90% of them, or more, because of one reason or another, that it just didn't fit or just didn't work. But the ones we have done have been just fantastic adds to the organization. It's probably
Nice,
equated to about maybe 20% of our growth over the years.
nice, nice. Well, this is really great. So we love stories where someone builds a company and just has a vision and builds it from there. And you're living proof, Todd, that you don't need to go to college. You don't need to have a business school degree. You don't need to be from the right pedigree. Anybody can make it in America. I think that's the message here, isn't it?
100%. I mean, my background as a kid growing up was working at the gas station. I worked on a dairy farm, milking cows for a couple of years. We lived in a very small dairy community. Painted stripes on highways. I did whatever I could do to make a living when I was younger, or to make money, I should say. And again, not having the financial wherewithal to go to college, or maybe even the desire when I was that age, probably, right? And did not even finish in high school. It's amazing what you can do with this industry and the skilled trades in general. And overall, I'm trying to bring more awareness to the fact that the skilled trades, look, college isn't for everybody, right? And it certainly wasn't for me at that time. My oldest son works for me as a technician, and he's become a really, really good one at that. My second oldest one works for the company, and these guys, I'm trying to get my third son. I was trying to push him to college. He wants nothing to do with it. He wants to go in the trades. And I mean, who am I to argue with him? I can't complain. We've done well. And so it's about the fact that, college isn't for everybody. And I think there's too many people that are still paying college tuition when they're in their 30s and 40s because they spent so much and put on all this loan and debt, when you can come out of high school, go right into the trades, and in less than 5 years, even, you could be making more than six-figure income and starting to build your empire or your fortune or whatever you want to do. But
Yeah.
it's the opportunities are great, and we're really just trying to raise the bar on that, and get more awareness, make more awareness out there for what those possibilities are.
Yeah. So Todd, we're going to be heard by about 300 people in the near term, and maybe 1,000 people will see this show or listen to the show over the next year or so. So as far as entrepreneurism, do you have any suggestions for our listeners who would like to become an entrepreneur? What message would you like to give those folks today?
That's a great question. I think the first answer to that is, nothing comes for free. I think a successful entrepreneur, granted, some may get lucky, but majority of entrepreneurs have to work really, really hard. So honestly, it was the thing that scared me the most when I started this company, because I didn't know if I had what it took to drive myself to go to work every day. Like, I wasn't a lazy person, but it still scared me in the fact that, am I going to stick to this? Is this something I'm going to do and hold true, and eventually have employees that they're going to depend on me? It was a scary thought for me. And I think that was a big driver, because I never stopped, never slowed down, even to this day. And, but in the beginning, it's a lot of hustle, a lot of hard work. I remember days where I worked 3, 4 days straight without even going home, and taking cat naps in my service van in parking lots, because we were just busy, and there was so much work I couldn't stop. So you got to have that mindset of, it's going to work hard. The other thing I would say is, you don't need a college education, but there are resources today more than ever. I mean, you can get a college education, so to speak, on YouTube these days, just by following certain things, and finding what you like and going and learning about it. But the other thing is books. I love to read. I've read hundreds of books on business and culture and what it takes to build businesses. And that's really been my education, but it's been to me the best education I could get. And there's just so many resources. Don't think you have to know it all. There's lots of people that have been there, done that, whether it's your industry or not. I mean, I don't know if there's no one in my industry that's done what we've done at Climate Pros in building a company like this, but it's not, I didn't know how to do it either. I learned through reading books and figuring out how others have built businesses, and those resources are there. So I would encourage people to take advantage of them. If you don't like to read, use Audible. Audible is my best friend because I travel a lot now. So I love to listen to books now more than read. But there's lots of resources out there to figure out what you need and how to go about being a successful entrepreneur.
Well, that's great, Todd. So thank you very much. I mean, you're a great inspiration. And again, while yes, for some college is great and they learn a lot, there's a
Yeah.
lot of you can get from outside of college, and you can still make it in America as an entrepreneur without going to college, without having all this formal training. But if you really are serious about building a business, it can still be done here. And we want to encourage everybody to step out and follow your dreams and make something like that happen. Todd, you're a great inspiration. We appreciate your being with us today on today's Market Explained.
Thanks, Brian. I appreciate you having me.
Thank you. Well, we'll
All right.
have more interviews here again with some other really great entrepreneurs like Todd, and then we'll come back with a market commentary podcast here shortly. So thanks everybody for being with us on today's Market Explained. Thank you, Todd. Let's move on and move on to the rest of our day.
All right.
Take
Thanks
all right.
again. Bye-bye.